What is up, my friends? Welcome to a new video. We got a few topics to cover, including the fact that 21% of the USD supply has been printed in 2021. Kind of piggybacking off the last video I made where I talk about, when do you stop QE? Who stops it? And how do you know you're stopping it at the right point? You don't create some kind of deflationary environment where the credibility of the currency is completely destroyed, and there's either a deflationary event or a hyperinflationary event that occurs because of that lack of confidence, right? So anyways, another thing I've been talking about is the key people and positions that Biden is looking to fill. So one of those is good old Janet Yellen. And she's got a long history of being a Fed chair and several other positions throughout a couple different administrations. And she was largely, kind of blamed and ostracized for a lot of things that happened through 2019, through 2009. I think she was on the backside of Bernanke, right? Her to succeed. Yeah. So there you go. So she came right after Bernanke. And I think she did an okay job. I think that what you should do is research this for yourself, because it's really easy to forget these headlines. And they tend to do this a lot. And I don't like how they do this, which is that, 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago, you forget the shit that she's done. You forget all the bad stuff that happened. You forgot all those negative headlines about how she was inept and she's an idiot and this and that, right? You kind of forget all that, and now all of a sudden she's a hero. This is a complete fluff piece. And you're in trouble when the whole piece is about stunning, brave, first woman this, first woman that. No. It's about qualifications. Who's the best qualified for the position? Now, if she is, great. I think there's probably better options out there to be the next Treasury Secretary. I think Mnuchin is just fine. He's a little rough around the edges, but he's a pretty genuine person. He's a goofy guy, but you can tell that for the most part, the guy's a pretty genuine guy. I don't know if he's been lying to us. I don't know. I'm not a body language expert or any of that stuff, but I do know that, he's kind of a quirky guy and you can pick up on that. And I like that. I like that authenticity. And that might be complete horseshit. He might be stabbing us all in the back for all we know. I'm just saying, in these government positions, man, Biden's a fucking robot. The reason why I didn't want Biden is because he's just like everyone else. He's just like Obama. He's just like all these other cunts that spew the same bullshit and then behind closed doors do something completely different. It's all about public opinions and good old boys club. That guy has not changed 1 ounce in 47 years, nor has he accomplished fuck all in 47 years. The fact that he just got nominated is so pathetic. I don't even know what to do with myself sometimes. But rant aside. You're in trouble when you got a piece that's all just fluff, all stunning and brave, like they've forgotten everything bad that she did and all the fumbles that occurred under her watch. The next interesting piece is all this talk about sovereignty. I got a sovereignty video queued up for you guys talking about this, which was shot way before this happened. But apparently, Eric Schmidt has become a resident of Cyprus. So the second passport of the rich and famous. And what do you know? Schmidt was also picked to play a key role in Biden's team. How interesting is that? So again, I talked about this in the last video. I don't know why this is all of a sudden okay. It's so crazy to me that we tried to find every little tiny piece with Trump's connections and what Trump is doing with the money, and he's making money as being a president, and now it's all just okay. We're going to bring in an ex-Googler who hangs out and goes to every single Bilderberg group and meeting. He's in on a lot of the depopulation agendas, so if you want to go crazy into the conspiracy land. And the guy genuinely has a pretty shitty attitude towards people. He doesn't like people. Look at a lot of the confrontational videos of him at the Bilderberg meetings. He's been on record saying that social media is really just perpetuates idiots. So he doesn't really think too highly of you, the people. And we're going to put this guy in a key position of power. Again, look into this guy. Look into some of the stuff he said. Look into, just how he thinks about people. It's no coincidence to me that all these like-minded people are once again being brought back together under Biden. It's going to be the boys club once again. And I've said this and I'll keep saying this. It's going to be the good old boys club, emergence of tech monopoly, big tech controlling you and telling you what is okay to say and what's not okay to say. That's going to continue to expand under a guy like Eric Schmidt. And I guess that's what they want. Like I said, this progressive bullshit is not going anywhere. And even though progressive groups warn, apparently 14 of them, warn Biden against doing this, more than a dozen progressive organizations published an open letter Biden-elect Tuesday warning him against appointing anybody with close ties to Google. Because this is a huge hypocrisy. Again, like, this doesn't create unity. This doesn't do any of the airy-fairy bullshit that Kamala and fucking Joe Biden are talking about, okay? And it's just more talk. Meanwhile, they're putting into position key players to bring in the next big swoop of things. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's remember this moment if Schmitty boy is actually brought on, because he went and got his second passport all okay, which I wonder why he went and got that. He should have had one already. Shame on him for having as much money as he's got. But, you know, he finally got his second one in Cyprus. I think he could have chose some better places, but he's got a lot of money, so he can pay top dollar for you know, that passport. But anyways, the point is that it'll be interesting to see down the line if they start trying to frown and stop people. You know, we start some capital control action. If this thing turns into a full-blown depression, we'll see what old Schmidt says about that then, even though he's got himself set up now. Okay, the group said that Biden should avoid giving former Google CEO a role. FT described Schmidt as possible lead for new tech task force in Biden's White House. Yeah, this tech task force is going to be pretty hilarious. The hypocrisy and the irony should be on point. The letter pointing Schmidt would risk fracturing a Democratic coalition and alienating an overwhelming majority of the electorate. Thank God, at least some of these people are, you know, they got a brain and they're starting to speak out. 14 groups. Just thought that was kind of funny, you know. I'm speaking all this sovereignty stuff. I got a couple more videos queued up, like I said, and here you go. All right, on to the juicy stuff. How good is the stock market really doing? Well, insider buying versus insider selling, you tell me. Red is sales, green is buying. You tell me, how's that going? How's that going this year? In the middle of a pandemic, stock market records, all-time highs, coincidentally, all-time high cashing out, too. You know, these guys aren't idiots. They know when the chicken comes home to roost, and they're definitely going to, you know, pull out profits and take profits along the way, because as they get more funding, it's such a beautiful cycle for corporations and people. I don't know if they know that it works like this, or maybe they just avoid it or ignore it. I don't know, but think of how the last 10 years has gone for the average corporate America, okay? It's gone beautifully, okay? They got a nice 2009 handout and bailout. All the banks got that, which the banks piggyback and work with the companies and the corporations to deter debt and prolong debt and loans and all these things. And they are behind the financing of IPOs, and they're behind the Series A and the Series Round 2, you know, whatever kind of series round you want to call it. They're behind a lot of that. Right? They are the ones that finance it. They are the ones that sign the notes on that. So they got a nice bailout. They got in on a lot of juicy IPOs over this last 10 years as the stock market's rebounded, and government and head officials have really put in a lot of the work, especially Trump put in a ton of work to get the stock market pumping, because stock market pumping usually equates to people being happier because they think, oh, everything's good, right? It really is that simple. And they got all that money, which they used to pay out huge bonuses, okay, across the boards. And the amount of share buybacks that have occurred over the last 10 years is the most on record. And so share buybacks went up. C-level payouts and I guess you could say bonuses went up until this year. And then everyone was getting scrutinized for it, so they at least stopped talking about it. I don't know if a lot of these companies stopped doing C-level bonuses and stuff like that while they're firing tens of thousands of people. I don't know. But now here we are. So it's like we had these share buyback programs going on. Share prices rise. More people buy it. A lot of them, Apple, Tesla, diluted their stock pricing and did splits. And now you've got, on the backside of that, all the selling. So now they reap the benefits of all this, you know, heightened euphoria. Jesus. Okay, I promise you it's not a drug problem. I don't have the sniffles. It's just an itchy nose. All right, largest 2-week inflow in global stocks ever, happening right now in the midst of a pandemic. Kind of crazy, right? Kind of like really insane. And right in the middle of a lot of people selling, right? A ton of people selling. And here's the stat you all came for. Apparently, they really wanted you to know that Cat USA and the Daily Shot was behind it. They always do this. This is really annoying how they overly stamp everything. But here it is. So 21% of all US dollars were printed in 2020. Brings us back right to the conversation that we left at the last video, is when is enough enough? When do you create a problem by printing too much money? When do you devalue your money so much and devalue the confidence in your money? Especially at a time when, even though China's got some issues, we're gonna talk about China and its issues in just a second, but confidence is high in China right now, and China is slowly overthrowing the United States dollar, and at the same time, we don't really seem to be caring about that. I don't know. Maybe this is exuberance, American ignorance, arrogance, one of those, right? And it could have repercussions. Okay. Here you go. These AAA bonds are tumbling as China default fears spread. Well, the Chinese yuan did really good last week on the backside of that pact that they signed with 14 countries to open up trade, essentially boxing out America. You've got the Silk Road Initiative, which has been going strong for the last 10, 15 years. You know, yes, was it coincidence that Corona came out in the year that China was going to have its worst GDP in like 60 years? Well, it's a little strange. It's a little odd. The breakout never hit Shanghai. So yeah, there's definitely some anomalies going on with the whole thing. But these AAA bonds are tumbling as China default fears spread. There has been 4 bank runs that I know of in China during this whole pandemic. Never really talked about, never really published, because the CCP has full control over the media over there, so it was never really talked about. But a bank run is a big deal. A bank run is a big deal. Imagine them bank running Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo in America. It would be like, it could trigger a serious event. Well, China does a lot better job with its state-owned companies and media networks to hide this. Okay, to hide it essentially. But the news still gets out. Okay, domestic rating firms, their bonds have tumbled by at least 14% since November 10th. Yeah, I mean they missed debt payments. Yeah, I think there's quite a bit going on with China actually. I had a stat but I lost it, so I'm not gonna. I had a graphic but I lost it. I think it was 335% or 353%. Debt to GDP for China right now. So they are way in over their heads. They are definitely doing pretty similar with just printing money, and they've got 1 billion people, so I think it's easier for them to hide it with I think 1.3 billion people. I would assume it's easier to hide that, and you're definitely going to have a much longer lag effect in terms of like, when does this create a deflationary or hyperinflationary type event? I think you'd be able to hide that a lot better. I mean, in America, there's 363 million, I think, as a population. So holy shit, we're talking about 4 times that. And you can get away with quite a bit, I would assume. You know, more body, more dilution, right? So anyways, this clearly isn't just a problem going on in America. This is a problem going on everywhere. There's a ton of money being printed, a ton of money and loans and debt being handed out right and left from third world countries like Yemen, all the way up to United States and China, emerging markets and everything in between. So this is something to keep an eye on, because this is concerning going forward. And a black swan event in one country can quickly, in times like this, lead to black swans in other countries, or something that hits here has a ripple effect on these other countries. Trade and supply chains have kind of tightened up a little bit in some sectors, right? But overall, this is something to pay attention to. So that's all I've got for you today. Quick one. If you like the video, thumbs up, thumbs down. If you don't, comment below, like, do all this stuff for the algorithms. Help us out. And if you're brand new, subscribe, hit the bell notification, be on the lookout. More videos coming soon. See ya.